Welcome everybody to Gambling on Hockey here on the Parlay. I'm your host Luca Rosano, alongside my special guest for today's show, Steven Psihogios, who will be filling in, making picks with myself as we will be looking at 6 games tonight and be making our picks against the puck line. Steven, thanks so much for joining us for today's show. How you doing, man?
Good. Excited to be on the show. Got a nice hearty 6-game slate in the NHL on a Friday, so I can't complain about that.
Yeah, I don't know how you've been doing with your picks overall, but I could use some work. I haven't been faring well with my picks, especially last night. There were a ton of games in the NHL. I think I got half of them right. So it's been a tricky NHL schedule, to say the least, as we're obviously coming up on the playoffs. So hopefully we could both pick some winners here tonight.
Yeah, that's the hope. I've been the same as you. Over on my Twitter, I like to give out 3 picks every night. And lately, I feel like, if I was playing baseball, I'd be doing well. I've been going 1 for 3 a lot, which, if I'm hitting, 333, that's not bad. But when it comes to making picks, that's not where I want to be. So I'm hoping for some better luck too here.
People want to see that over 50% mark, so hopefully we can deliver on that. We're going to start with the first game. We got Philadelphia taking on Ottawa in this one. The Sens favorites here by -1.5. Who do you like tonight?
I love Ottawa in this spot. This actually, if I were to look through the slate, this is probably the game I feel the most confident about. Ottawa is in a nice little spot here. Philadelphia, it was Claude Giroux's 1000th game last night. They had a big celebration to honor him, and they were selling grilled cheese in the concessions because it's his favorite snack, and they won a crazy game against the Preds 5-4. So it was just a really nice evening for the Flyers. So I just see a major letdown coming on Friday. First of all, Giroux's not even going to play. He's been held back because of all the trade rumors that are surrounding him. So I just think this spot for Ottawa, who's going to be rolling with Anton Forsberg between the pipes, a guy who's played pretty well this year with a .916 save percentage, I think they're set up real well against Martin Jones and the Flyers.
Yeah, I got to agree with you to begin this show. This has been a matchup where, you don't usually see the Senators' favorite, but they are going up against the lowly Flyers. And this is a team that's 3-10 in their last 13 against teams with losing records. So they have not delivered there. As you mentioned, Giroux's not even going to be in the lineup tonight. And this is a Senators team that they've been able to look good in some of these spots. And they've been averaging 2.1 goals. And I think this is a spot where they will deliver at home. Like you said, Philadelphia just played. So I think they're going to be on that high, and they're going to come down here. So I don't usually lay with Ottawa, but I think this is a spot where they will find their groove, and they will give the home crowd something to cheer about. So I agree with you, Steven. Give me Ottawa -1.5 to begin the show. We got the next game here. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to chime in. I'm always a little nervous when you're laying 1.5 with the Sens. Like on paper, it sounds great, but then you take a step back and think, oh, it is Ottawa. But I do actually really like them in this spot. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it is confusing, and I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like that's the one thing that always, I guess, negates me from betting on hockey more so than I should. It's those 1.5 games. You could be so comfortable with taking a team, but that if they don't win by 2, or the other team scores a late goal, and then all of a sudden it's a 1-point margin, it's like you lost that bet. It could be so tricky. And I feel the same could be said about baseball when you deal with those 1.5s, in some of these closely contested matchups.
Oh, yeah. When the goalie gets pulled in hockey and you've got the -1.5, that can be one of the most exhilarating moments in sports betting. So it's definitely one of those things where you could be literally inches away from covering a bet sometimes.
Okay, next game now. This should be a good one. We got Washington. They've been red hot lately. They're taking on Carolina. Carolina here, favorites by 1.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Washington. Carolina, they play in a lot of tight, low-scoring games. They don't give up a lot, but their offense really hasn't been scoring a lot. We saw against Toronto last night, they only scored 2 goals. In the game before that against Pittsburgh, they only scored 2 goals as well. So they're not really lighting it up right now. And with both teams trotting out their backups, a little bit more uncertainty with how to feel on either side. So when it's in that situation, I like to take the 1.5. And the Caps, they looked real strong against Columbus. They throttled the Blue Jackets on Thursday.
I love this pick. Yeah, I'm going to take the 1.5 as well. I'm going to go with Washington. You look at Carolina, they come into tonight's game dropping 2 straight as their offense is starting to look a little bit stale. I mean, this is a Canes team that they scored 20 goals over the last 9 games, and they failed to score more than 3 goals in any of those games. And the power play is 0-4 in its last 10, and they're taking on a Washington team they're hot, especially with their power play lately. And I think this is going to be a spot where Washington, comes through again. We've seen them have a lot of success this season, most notably these last couple of weeks, and they've been one of the best teams in the NHL in the last 3 weeks. So anytime you see Washington and an opportunity to take a goal and a half, I feel like you have to take it. So I'm going to take them here against Carolina. I do think Washington cashes through, and I would not be surprised if they even win this game on the money line. I'd go as far as saying that.
Yeah, I think definitely dabbling on the money line a little bit in this one. I like the over as well with both backups. So those are a couple other plays I like on this game as well.
Okay, next game we got Boston -1.5 taking on Winnipeg. What do you got going on in this one?
This one, I gotta go with Winnipeg. No Bergeron again for Boston. They said he was gonna miss 2 games very late before that game against the Wild. That hurt me. That was one of the ones this week where I went 1 for 3 that night. But you look at this Boston team, and whether it's Bergeron or Marchand, when they're missing one of those 2 guys, it's just not the same up front. They've been a one-line team for a while. They've split Pasta up. Now they've got him on the second line. So they've tried to spread it out, but when one of the 2 big guys, Bergeron, Marchand, are out, they really feel it. Linus Allmark is also going to be drawing the start. Likely, he was the first one off at practice today for the Bruins, and he hasn't been quite as strong as Jeremy Swayman. So I'm going to have to take the goal and a half here with the Jets.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a reason to disagree with you, Steven, but so far we're on the same page. I like Winnipeg here as well, +1.5. The Bruins, the schedule has not been kind to them. They're actually going to be playing their 3rd game in 4 nights on the road, and they're going to be going up against a hard-hitting playoff-style team in Minnesota. So I think the Jets could easily take advantage of that, and Hellebuck is overdue for a big game here, and it could come against the Boston team that has been pretty low on fuel lately. So I will take this as an opportunity to cash in on an underdog. So I will take Winnipeg +1.5 at home against the Bruins.
Yeah, they've been bizarrely playing hockey, this Winnipeg team, especially you mentioned Hellebuck. He hasn't looked anything like the Hellebuck we've seen in past years, and the offense hasn't been clicking for long stretches of the season. But I'm thinking tonight against a Boston team missing their top center, I'm expecting a big outing from this Jets team.
All right, next game we got Buffalo taking on Calgary. Calgary, the overwhelming favorites here. Are you buying into that, or are you going the other way?
I've got to take Calgary. You look at what Buffalo did last night against Mike Smith and Edmonton. They score 1 goal. That's not promising going up against Daryl Sutter's Calgary Flames. We're playing about as strong defensively as any team in the NHL. Not to mention, the Flames aren't overlooking this game. They play Friday and Saturday, but they're trotting out Jacob Markstrom for tonight's game, and he's limited opponents to 1 goal or less in 3 of his last 4 starts. On a Buffalo team playing in as many 2 games in as many nights, I don't like that.
Not at all. And yeah, they're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. They're taking on Calgary. Ridiculous record at home, 50-1-1 on home ice since January 18th, with an average goal differential of +2.76 in those contests. And they've actually covered the puck line in 13 of those 17 games. And they've played a competition that's a hell of a lot better than the Sabres team during that time. So I look for this to be another a great spot for Calgary to come on through and pick up some easy points as they gear up for the playoffs. So, yeah, I can't disagree with you here, man. I'm going with Calgary as well, -1.5.
Yeah, they just don't overcomplicate it. Look at it. You got
Yeah.
Buffalo, a tired Buffalo team going up against a rested, a little bit more well rested Calgary team with their number 1 netminder. It's got to be, it's not going to be too complicated, I think, to break this one down.
Okay, now another overwhelming favorite. We got Florida taking on Anaheim. Same theme here.
Yeah, this Florida team, they lost last night to Vegas, so I expect them to come out a little bit more hungry in this matchup. And Anaheim, they've just been kind of floundering really since the All-Star break. They haven't looked great. I like the over in this one, to be honest with you, too, as well. If you're going to sprinkle in another angle, I think the Ducks, they've gone over this total in back-to-back games, and Florida is one of the best over teams in the NHL. They got the 3rd highest over percentage this year, so that's another angle I like. And if it's going to be a high-scoring game, I expect this Florida team to win by at least a couple of goals.
Yeah, I like the over as well in this matchup, and I'm going with Florida too, -1.5. The Panthers, they're definitely not going to be a team that John Gibson wants to see. He's been struggling. The Ducks are conceding over 3 goals per game, and they're one of the worst teams in the NHL with 33.1 shots against per game. So this is going to be a lot of goals. I think this will be a high-scoring affair, and Gibson enters this one with a 3.05 goals against. So he's been really struggling lately, and he's given up at least 4 goals in 4 of his previous 5 and 9 of his last 11 attempts. So Florida's going to do a number in this game, I believe. So yeah, I will take the -1.5 here, and I could see this being an over. So I like that play as well.
Yeah, and the Panthers have gone over this number in 5 of their last 7. It really just seems like this is going to be a shootout and not one that favors the Ducks too kindly.
Okay, and then final game, we got Colorado -1.5 against San Jose.
I actually really like Colorado in this one. San Jose played last night. They got shut
Yeah.
out. They lost 3-0. And this is a Avalanche team. Sure, no Gabriel Landeskog. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future, but they've covered this number in back-to-back games. And when that team is rolling, that's a train I want to steer clear from because they can really roll. And the Avalanche, I just think in this situation, you get a tired a tired San Jose team who's going to be rolling out Sawchenko, who's given up 3 goals in each of his last 2 starts. I just think this is an easy Avs cover.
Yeah, I like the element when looking at teams that are playing in the second half of back-to-back. I think it does factor in a ton. So I'm going Colorado as well. They're 3-2 over their last 5 contests. They've scored 14 goals during that span. And I look for this Avalanche team to continue grooving offensively. And you look at the Sharks, they have not been good as an underdog whatsoever this season. 18-38 in their last 56 as an underdog. And most recently 3-7 in their last 10 home games. So this home spot will not be kind for them going up against the juggernaut that is the Colorado Avalanche. So, man, I think we literally agreed on every pick. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for listeners and viewers everywhere, but yeah, we agree literally with all 6 of our picks.
Well, I'm thinking, you said off the top that your picks have been a little mild. My picks have been a little mild lately. This is a sign. The correction is coming. It's coming. It's going to be a Friday night frenzy for both of us.
Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Gambling on Hockey. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you do want to bet on any of these games, just know Steven and I are backing you up if you do decide to take our picks. So that is it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself an incredible weekend, and we'll be back on the show next week.